The end of hardcore Minecraft. Sounds dramatic, I know. And if you clicked on this video, I would imagine you're thinking one of a couple different things right now. The first being that maybe my hardcore Minecraft world is over because I died. Well, I haven't died yet in this world, so that's not what this video is about. Another might be that Minecraft is removing hardcore as a game mode. This is also not the case, at least as far as I understand. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the end. Maybe that joke is a little bit played out, but I honestly haven't seen it a whole lot, and well, I think it's clever. Even though it has only been a couple weeks since I last had you here with me in this world, so much has happened that I'm excited to share with you. I'm gonna focus on the 5 biggest things that have happened since you guys were last here, and of course one of them will be the end. Number 1 though is the changing gear. If you weren't here for my last video, which I would highly recommend checking out if you haven't seen yet, I got settled in with some iron gear and tools, which is great to start with, but I think everyone can agree that it's better to move on to diamond gear as soon as possible. Thanks to the mine we set up, it was easy to get diamonds, and alongside that, our farms made it possible to get another boost to our kit, enchanting. I got incredibly lucky with my first diamond pickaxe enchantment, and it allowed me to boost my diamond yields and gear myself up with full diamond armor. I do just have to add a little side note that putting on full diamond armor for the first time in hardcore is incredibly satisfying. It really just feels like you're more protected from everything that wants to end your world. Number 2 is the Nether. The reason I wanted to go to the Nether in the first place was mostly to get started brewing potions, so my first trip was meant to get me to a fortress and gather those materials, but the Nether had other plans. While I was exploring, instead of finding the fortress I was looking for, I found a Bastion. I know these have been around in the game for a while, but I'm not nearly as experienced with them as I'd like to be. I felt like I had to be very careful with my approach, as I had died to axe-wielding piglins on more than one occasion in past survival worlds. Luckily for me, there were a few chests very close to where I entered, so I blocked myself in and checked them out. And I was able to fish out an amazing item that I'll be able to use in the future. I was gone after that. There was no shot I was going to stay around any longer and risk anything happening. It will still be a while though before I'll be able to use that item, so I set it aside. And I took a moment to use a seed mapping tool, Chunk Base, to help me find another fortress. I share this part with you in the interest of staying transparent about how I've decided to approach my hardcore experience. I spent about 30 minutes exploring the Nether the first time around, and since I was unable to find the fortress in that time, I wanted to speed up the process by allowing myself to know exactly where one is so I can navigate directly to it. With that in mind, I gathered my coordinates and set off to find the fortress I was able to see in the tool. In the fortress, there were 2 specific things that I needed to gather before I was okay to leave. The first one appeared relatively quickly, being nether wart. This would be the base for a lot of the potions I'll be making moving forward. The other is a much trickier item to collect, and one that has caused me many deaths in past worlds. The problem with blazes for me has always been 3 things. The first one being those flame charges they shoot. It's really easy to lose a lot of health from burning damage if just one of these hits, so I had a shield at the ready to handle that part. Another problem with them is that if you get too close to them, they can also hit you directly physically. So I also need to keep enough distance from them to prevent that from happening. And the last problem is that they're just too mobile. The way I want to approach fixing that is to immediately start building an enclosure for the spawner once I find it. While I wasn't quite able to finish that task on this trip, I was able to gather a few rods, and anytime I felt even a little bit unsafe about how things were going, I would retreat to safety and heal up. After the first successful trip, I needed to use some of the materials I had gathered, along with some magma cream that a very generous magma cube donated to me, to prepare for a return trip to the fortress. I wanted to at least get the blaze enclosure finished for any future trips for farming blaze rods. I never said it would be pretty, but at least it's there. I definitely want to clean this up and make it look nicer in the future, but for now I'm happy with at least being able to gather the blaze rods in relative peace. Number 3 is prepping for the end. A lot of long-term Minecraft players I've seen seem to associate finishing the end with the beginning of a Minecraft world. I knew that for me to be comfortable going into this fight with the Ender Dragon, there would be a list of things I would need to have ready before I would even want to attempt anything. Those things are enchanted diamond armor, an enchanted bow and enough arrows to handle the fight, enough ender pearls and blaze powder to not only find the portal but also to light it, potions of slow falling, regeneration, strength, and swiftness. With everything gathered, it was finally time for number 4, the end of Minecraft Hardcore. Okay, sorry, yeah, I just had to do it again. But to be completely honest, I was a little nervous I might accidentally look at a bunch of Endermen and end my world. I knew that I had prepared myself pretty well for this fight though, so I did my best to approach it as I normally would. Knock out all the towers with my bow, and then focus on the dragon until I'm able to complete the fight. There were a few points where I worried I had pulled Enderman on me, but thankfully the fight actually went relatively smooth, and I was hitting my bow shots even cleaner than I think I normally do. Without too much trouble, the Ender Dragon was no longer around, and the next generation was in my hands. This wasn't the end of the end though. No. We still had to go to the outer islands for the most important part of completing the end. While I started my search, I had a very scary encounter with a couple of Endermen when I unknowingly looked at them. With only half my health remaining, thankfully my water bucket was able to help me keep them at enough distance while I slowly chipped away at them and healed up. This was definitely the closest call I had in this world yet, and I still don't know if I've calmed down from it, honestly. I'm so grateful that I had this water bucket because this could have gone so much worse. With my breath finally caught, I moved on and continued my search through the outer islands and eventually came upon my first city. I cautiously made my way through, and with a lot of luck and a little bit of skill, I managed to make my way to the ship and collect the true reward, Elytra. With the ability now to take to the sky, I set off and managed to spot another end city just at the edge of my render distance with another ship, which I definitely wasn't going to pass up. With that, I had 2 Elytra and finally returned home using the gateway. And the only item we have left to talk about today is my housing situation. While I did build a farmhouse in the last episode, I never really intended for that house to be my own. That house is for the farmers who work the land, and the little tent I've been using definitely isn't going to work for me in the long term. I made a test copy of my world to build the concept of my house exactly where I wanted it, and once I was happy with the creative copy, I made up the schematic in Lightmatica and got to work. This house is probably the most extravagant starter house I've ever made, but I'm actually really happy with the results. I've been doing my best to try and branch out with my build palette as well, since I've been hard stuck with spruce wood, oak wood, and cobblestone being the default palette for most of my builds for a long time. And I'm really happy that I did, because even though this might not be a house that everyone would want to live in, it's definitely a house I want to live in, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. With that, we have officially covered everything on the hardcore world up to this point, and the world is now sitting at hardcore day number 127. With over 100 days survived, I'm feeling super excited to continue and see how far I can take this world. If you made it to this point in this video, thank you for your support. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you for many more hardcore days in the future. Stay safe and have a good one.